Far Cry Primal. So spoiler alert, I don't like this game. You know, this whole open world game thing really needs to stop. Everybody, stop doing it. Bethesda is the only one who knows how to do it. These games are grindy and repetitive and boring. With the idea behind them, hey, we're gonna give you a set of tools and this is your playground and you can do whatever you want in it. As an excuse for not crafting, you know, levels and missions and a story and, like, something to do. They figured out that free roam is synonymous with we don't have to do anything, so we can crank out games faster for less money. Ubisoft games appeal to the lowest common denominator of gamers. Far Cry Primal is Far Cry in 10,000 BC, because apparently Ubisoft thinks that what people like about Far Cry is the tribal LCD-induced dream sequence fetish, and not, you know, the gunplay. This game, just in concept, is such a bad idea. You go from having pistols, assault rifles, shotguns, machine guns, sniper rifles, and then a modern day bow and arrow, and equipment like grenades and mines and C4 and rocket launchers and hang gliders and all this creative playgroundy stuff. And you take away all that and you give us a bow, a spear, and a club. That's it. This game feels like such a devolution from the last two Far Cries. And they've just told us now that Far Cry is going to become Assassin's Creed. It's going to become basically annual. You know how quickly this game came out? It wasn't even 2 years after Far Cry 4. You know why? Because they copy-pasted the map! And you look in the menu in the level up section and you see all these upgrades you're going to get, you know. And of course your starting backpack bottoms out at like 4 items. It's like crafting should be a byproduct of the game. It should be something you can do, but don't have to do. If crafting is essential to progressing in the game, you're doing it wrong. Because then you're forced to craft. It's not a fun thing where you get to experiment and customize and make your own stuff. It's just what you have to do to get the only good stuff in the game. And you are severely restricted until you do. And it's the kind of game that you have to put a ton of time into if you want to get any enjoyment out of. You know, the whole Far Cry formula is like all these outposts and everything. You know, we gotta see an outpost and there's all these people, so we're gonna go take down that outpost. The problem with that in Far Cry Primal is that in Far Cry 3 and 4, you know, there were structures and buildings and doors and people on different levels. So you can be tactical or stealthy in how you approach the situation. Oh, I'm gonna throw a C4 here. I'm gonna snipe that guy, slit this guy's throat, and go after the rest with a suppressed pistol or something. Far Cry Primal is just a hill. It's a flat area, and there's just a bunch of people, and they just all come at you. That's not an outpost, that's a bonfire. There's no capturing or infiltrating to do. It's just open battle. And the big new thing in Far Cry Primal is that you can tame animals. I don't know how that's a gameplay mechanic. It's basically, here, summon someone else to fight for me. It doesn't improve how you play the game. It helps the game just play it for you. It's like, oh, wolf, I'll use my spirit connection juju gaga to take over his mind. And the story and the characters in this game. Oh my goodness. Hoyoya taka umgabo no garatiga. It's hilarious. And it's like a cave painting and they tell a story. And in the dialogue they take out all the articles and prepositions, so it's just nouns and adjectives. Wenja scary, Wenja destroyed, Wenja tribal. And of course there's this bald girl that's like putting her hand on your face because it's romantic and we're creating character bonding. When you two of you together have a combined IQ of 10. Again, it's a AAA big Ubisoft game, so how do the graphics hold up? How do you think? Of course, when the sun's setting and coming up, there is so much orange it just hurts your eyes. What is with people making everything orange? That doesn't look good. Stop it. You know, at least the style of the game world and, like, the outside is a little different. Like, the trees are, like, really big and tall because, you know, it's prehistory. But how do you have a prehistory game without dinosaurs? That's, like, half the fun. I mean, obviously, dinosaurs were extinct before people came along, if you want to be all historically accurate, which Ubisoft is obsessed with. And they put more effort into researching their games than they do into developing them. Dinosaurs would be cool. Why not dinosaurs? Because you have this spirit juju nonsense, but you can't have dinosaurs? That's realistic. But it's just an open world. It's just nature everywhere. And with these little huts or bonfires here and there. There's no anything. It's so empty of things to explore or do. You'll come across an NPC and he'll fight with you, but you can't talk to him. You can't, like, have him join your team. You can't go on a quest with him or anything. Because any dialogue would just be and the game runs in 30 frames per second. And while the character models themselves look good, all the texture on their fur looks like shit. So, like, I have to remind people, this is 2016, you know. So can we have 2016 graphics, please? I know it's possible on the PS4. Battlefront looked insane. Order 1886 looked insane. You know the worst part, the most frustrating thing, is that the game is in 30 frames per second, and the map is in 60 frames per second. It is so stupid. Why would you do that? Because now when you go back to the game, we've just been jarred, and it seems comparatively worse. That was the dumbest idea in the world. You know, and there's this little sequence when you're flying in your golden spirit owl thing through the thing, and you know, it's pretty because there's like blue flowers and there's like golden light and stuff, so at least the color palette's a little different. But it's like, is there even any gameplay to do it? You just follow an owl with the stick with like really, really bad flight controls for like 10 minutes, and then you get there and you win. Now you've unlocked the thing. It's a glorified race mode. And it tells you like you're falling behind when you can only go one speed. Alright, so what about the combat? Is the combat at least entertaining? You know what? It's not a complete failure. And here's why. I've always loved the sight of a bow and arrow in first person. I just think it looks cool. And Far Cry being a shooting franchise, at least the bow first person shooting is really good. Now, there is no arrow drop, but there is, like, arrow hang time, so you have to lead people off, but you don't have to go up. So, I mean, it is easier and less realistic, but it is nice because it's easier to pull off cool headshots and feel like a badass, even though, you know, that's a whole different ball game. So you can throw all your weapons, and then you run out, and then you just go in your inventory and you make more. It's really silly. So the bow and arrow shooting is fun. Throwing spears at people's heads and watching them fall down is fun. And that's like really the only part of the game that works at all. So it's what this should be is a $5 chivalry mod, where you just skin everything for 10,000 BC and you put us in one little arena and you just like 5-on-5 go kill each other. But the melee combat is so horrendous, it takes away any grace I might have given it for the ranged combat. So every time you hit someone with the club, the camera violently shakes to the left and it's trying to make you throw up, I think is what it does. But without a shield, without a block, without a parry, without a dodge, it becomes who can spam right trigger the fastest. And you have to do this really awkward, like, kind of strafe around them to sidestep. It is the most poorly designed combat. The melee combat is the melee knife hit from a first-person shooter. It's like, that's a game mechanic to knock somebody away because you're relying on the shooting. You can't make that your main gameplay. The moment someone goes out of screen, you can't see them because it's in first person, and they're animals, so they're moving fast, and you gotta, like, it's nearly impossible to fight animals. It's so horribly bad. Ladies and gentlemen, Far Cry Primal's crap. Don't buy it. It's not worth $60. It's not worth $20. And write letters to Ubisoft to let them know that we're on to their little scheme that they're doing. You know, so far in 2016, I'm not that upset because Far Cry Primal, The Division, these two big Ubisoft games that I'm just ripping apart, I expected to be crap, so I haven't been disappointed yet. So it's too early to just say 2016 is screwed off the bat. I'm trying new horizons, I'm trying new genres, I'm trying new franchise to try to kind of expand. I go after games not just that I'll like, but that I think will be popular. Dark Souls 3 and Uncharted 4 are going to be coming up next too. We'll look ahead to the future. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. God bless.
Hearts!